Then we had WWE Studio Housens presenting The Curse Father, a Godfather parody of the Danhausen New York Knicks story, and then into the lead up to Danhausen and JD McDonough. Now, by the end of this show, I had this thought that I wonder how much of this event was the idea, hey, we're in New York, let's really capitalize off this very organic crossover we had through Danhausen and the Knicks, and we do something really cool with the Knicks and Jalen Brunson with Danhausen, before they realized, wait a minute, this could be really big. This is way too big for Danhausen. How can we get Roman Reigns to suddenly be Jalen Brunson's best friend? And it was like Roman Reigns got to do the victory lap for all this like crossover work that Danhausen did throughout the playoffs.
I certainly wondered that myself. I mean,
it's almost like it felt like this is too big to just be wasted on Danhausen. Like he got like really all the Knicks stuff. Like there was nothing of the Knicks. Be like you guys can have the jersey to fight over. The stars though, they will be utilized. Well, I guess we got the big reveal at the end of this, so he got a consolation Nick.
Yeah. Just knowing how this company thinks, none of that really surprises me. You know, like they want the biggest star attached to their biggest star for these photo ops. Like this whole main event that we're about to talk about tonight.
Oh, yeah, it was
a photo session.
That is what it was. It was like let's get this splashed over ESPN, and hopefully like it promotes our SummerSlam main event. But it's our number one star attached to the number one athlete in the NBA and one of the top athletes, period, at the moment.
And, you know, like, of course, there's an argument to be made that that's more beneficial having Roman, you know, be seen, who's the headliner of your SummerSlam event and multiple other events, versus like having Danhausen there, which would be like a sort of nice little novelty, but doesn't really do that much for your overall business. Right?
But it's like all the promotional material, like it was Danhausen, like was front and center on all the advertising. It was like, join the uncursed. July 18th. Like this was the Danhausen event at Madison Square Garden that they promoted this as. So
again, like, you know, maybe you can look at that as like, who would have thought Danhausen would be this guy at the beginning of this year, right? Like he's already way overachieved anybody's expectations.
He's been a great addition, and you know, I'm sure there's some that feel he's overexposed on WWE programming, but to me, he's never been like to the detriment of the program that they've gone so hard on it that it stops being the fun joke when you're shoving it down people's throat. I don't feel they've crossed that line. It's like this guy is in his own lane with his own people. It's not like he's bringing people down to a level. It's, you know, I think they've handled him generally well, and he's been a massive merch mover, and you could not have predicted all the Knicks stuff that gained him so much attention and getting into like all over ESPN. I'm sure ESPN, they just love this guy. I'm sure. So,
yeah.
I mean, in that case, like this guy has served a function that nobody else is fulfilling in that kind of a role in WWE. Judgment Day is interviewed by Jackie Redmond, and so that takes us to the no DQ match with McDonough and Danhausen. Danhausen, one of several performers in the colors of the Knicks, while Dominic is in the corner and has the Knicks jersey. So we get Let's Go Knicks chants as JD is just beating on him, getting the heat. Dominic, they zoom in as he wipes his shoes with the Knicks jersey, and this crowd is just livid. Danhausen is by the entrance, and he takes the stuffed cat from SmackDown and places it into the cloning machine.
With the Knicks jersey.
Yep. And out comes Carl Anthony Towns. And this crowd, it's
cat.
like yes, cat. Yeah, that's goddamn, that's clever shit. It's cat. Guy's cat. And out he comes. Giant pop, and this guy
They give him the Andre shot. Like,
oh my God, he just towers over everyone.
Yeah.
He comes in, choke slams JD, then he choke slams Dom through a table. He's putting a curse on them, and then it's the triple D by Danhausen to pin JD, and Carl Anthony Towns, Danhausen, and the three little guys all posed together. Now, I don't give a shit about Roman Reigns and Jalen Brunson holding up the trophy and the belt. This is the photo op. This is the photo you really want on SportsCenter.
Of the two Knicks integrations, this was the way more fun one, at least to me, like maybe somebody who doesn't live in New York. Like I don't even know who this cat dude is, but I thought like it was just it was just fun, and I thought this match was everything it promised to be and needed to be. Like you're not expecting like great bell to bell action when you're promoting a Danhausen match, but what you are expecting is maybe like a big sort of like cursing spot, and you're just expecting some fun sort of like surprises, and they delivered that in this form. This crowd certainly reacted really well. I thought the choke slams from Cat looked really strong as well. So
I'm surprised they allowed him to do it, but I guess they've done physicality with
Brunson also
the basketball
wouldn't have,
players.
Brunson also wouldn't have been able to do any physicality, I imagine, with the wrist injury. So
yeah,
maybe that was another reason.
A good point. Yeah. So I mean, it all depends. If you were into this, cool. It certainly worked for the crowd, and I don't know what your expectation of this match would have been beyond this kind of a payoff at the end with one of the Knicks showing up. Then we had another video on New York sports stars, everyone from Babe Ruth, Reggie Jackson, Mark Messier, Ollie Frazier, Bruno, Hogan, and now we add Jalen Brunson to that list of legends, and they dub him the King of New York. And so Brunson gets, like, honestly, this is like an introduction that this was like a WrestleMania entrance this guy got, emerging from the Knicks locker room, walking through the back. We've got every single WWE personnel up on their feet, cheering him on. And he just so happens to run into Roman Reigns right at the gorilla position. And they come out to Roman's theme. They're chanting for both of them. This entrance went on forever. And he calls New York the home of WWE. And that 53 years, it's been too long between championships. There's only one tribal chief and there's only one captain. And then Roman Reigns digs in deep and he pulls out a custom championship belt for Jalen Brunson. Why do I feel that you, the fan at home, will have an opportunity to get your own Jalen Brunson custom belt as well?
I don't know. I don't know why you would think that.
They raise their belts together, stating, "To acknowledge us." And then Seth Rollins' music plays. But instead of Seth Rollins, Tyrese Halliburton comes out. I thought that was a great, clever swerve that they did here. He comes out and the crowd boos him. And it's a distraction for Seth to jump Roman from behind. And Brunson, he can't do anything physically here, so he's just got to stand here and watch as Rollins kicks him.
That's him to still hold on to his championship belt, though.
Well, this thing was probably one of one. It's like, I'm not just throwing this down. Someone might steal it. So Seth eventually goes for the stomp, and now Jalen Brunson stands in his way, and the crowd starts chanting MVP, and he says, "This is my house." And he allows Roman to recover, hitting Seth with the Superman punch and a spear. And dude, Tyrese Halliburton also physically ineligible here from this angle, just has to stand here and he helps his buddy out of the ring.
I wonder what the insurance sort of like rules mandate for like.
Dude, it's why I was surprised enough that they had the choke slams earlier on, but I guess they deemed that was the only physicality we were going to see. Like these athletes, they do not want them doing physical shit at this stage of the game. And so Rollins was booked like the complete heel in all of this, like the cowardly heel that jumps Roman from behind. And then it finishes with the Larry O'Brien trophy being brought to the ring. Roman holds up the Larry O'Brien trophy as Brunson holds up Roman's title. It's just, they literally do like a postcard at the end, the image of the two holding up both of these. I'm sure this is just going to be plastered on shit for you to buy as well. I can imagine a lot of people just groaning at all of this, but in terms of just crafting a segment of making your Roman Reigns look like the biggest star in the world next to Jalen Brunson, I mean, they just went all out here. And look at this. Hey guys, let's not forget about me here. I'll be right in the middle.
I got to take advantage.
So, did this move any interest for Rollins and Reigns? That I cannot say, but they wanted to create a segment that is hopefully going to be circulated online everywhere and get 50 trillion views by Monday to promote and get a bunch of ESPN coverage. And if there's an interest beyond that for Reigns and Rollins, then great.
If that is the measure of success for this professional wrestling show, then yeah, I would say they achieved it.
It is. It can be the most social clip of the weekend.
Listen,
more than the World Cup.
If you simply want to measure professional wrestling success by how loud a crowd reacts, they were successful there too, because this was an audience that loved all of this. They reacted certainly the biggest to this of anything on the show. So you could say that this was a worthwhile, main event for this professional.
In another era, this would have been Joe Carter.
I don't think they would ever pay that level of attention to Toronto. Maybe it was Doug Gilmour, all right? Maybe it was the Lisa 93.
Right? Doug Gilmour. Yeah.
So it was really...
Wait a minute, that's Dave Andrechuk.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, sure, by those metrics, yeah. But I also, for me, not being a New Yorker and maybe not being as swept up, by that sort of, Knicks sort of fever, I was more so really just trying to watch this as a bit more of a wrestling show. And I don't know, it's so icky to me, just to kind of, see this sort of TKO machine in action with, their sort of constant want of celebrity and these photo ops.
You know what those last 20 minutes was? This was Fanatics Fest.
Yeah.
On a wrestling show. That's what this was. It was cool collaboration of mixing up these super rich athletes for the fans to just take their photos and see something cool for an intimate audience, as intimate as 13,000 can be.
And again, there's the argument that this has always been in the DNA of WWE and its success, and starting from this very building, right? And maybe I just can't get that mad at it, knowing what I'm watching. But it to me, there seems to be very little sort of artistic craft in any of it, and silly me for expecting that, in the body of the sort of this fictitious drama. But it just felt like it was all designed for the photo and really not much else.
It's July on the Post Wrestling Cafe, and that means our extensive G1 coverage begins starting July 11th. We're going to have reviews of every single G1 card right up to and including the finals in the middle of August. Plus, Rewind Away takes a look at 2 episodes of Heels. We're also going to be going back to 2005 for a review of WrestleMania 21, and it is the start of our double shot episodes covering this season of Dark Side of the Ring. Plus, we are going to dive into the 3rd season of WWE Unreal. All that and so much more can be yours by signing up to the Post Wrestling Cafe. It gets you XL editions of Rewind to Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, Collision Course on a weekly basis, MCU later, and so much more.